What's up YouTube fam, Robbie C here, and today we are beginning the journey that we're gonna call 2 weeks to Maple Hill.
So catch me if I fall.
For those of you unfamiliar, Maple Hill is a beautiful course up in Boston, Massachusetts. I believe it's technically in Leicester, Massachusetts. But I'm going to be heading up to the Massachusetts area for the Northeast Disc Golf Expo, which is happening on the weekend of, I believe, 17th through the 18th. Let's see. Yep. On March 18th and 19th. It's gonna be a fantastic time, but while I'm there, I'm gonna be super close to Maple Hill and have the opportunity to play golf with some amazing content creators who are also going to be at that expo. But if you've been following the channel at all, probably super crazy out here because I know that it's loud over there and we have like 20-mile-an-hour winds today. The only problem is I kind of got to stay near outside because with those crazy winds, I hate our house and we lose power if it gets windy at all or if it storms or it thinks about storming. So yeah, we don't have any power in our house right now. So I'm currently standing in our garage with the garage door lifted open. Anyways, if you've been following the channel at all, you know that I have been in the middle of some form change and that has led to a catastrophe for the start of the year when it comes to me actually playing decent disc golf.
Yeah.
But with me going to Maple Hill, I want to make sure that I actually feel competent in my game to a certain degree. Normally something I tell players over and over again is that we are not trying to rush the form change process. It's going to take time, especially because for most people you are weekend warriors and you don't necessarily have the time or opportunity to really invest a lot into changing your game. So I think there are three major barriers holding people back. First, time to actually invest into form change. Second, the knowledge that it takes to actually change the form. And third, objective eyes looking at your form to actually help you make those changes, because it's one thing to know all of these things and it's another to apply them, and even to apply them to your own game where you're going to have some biases and need help working through the feel of things. But that is where Mike Strauss comes in. I started working with Mike several years ago at this point, and we started at the basket and have been working our way backwards. He helped me with my putt. There are some upshot things that he's definitely helped me with. And then now we are working on the distance form. When it comes to distance form, and I've heard even Josh talk about this over at Overthrow, if you have really poor upper body, but your lower body is doing what you're supposed to, you can still top out at like 350 feet. Begging the question, Robbie, why would we work on lower body first? Because upper body's gonna get us the distance. While yes, you can get distance faster just focusing on your upper body, if you don't have the lower body working correctly in those edge pieces, as Mike likes to describe it, of the puzzle working, it's definitely going to backfire on you. If you start on the edge pieces of the upper body, when you go to work on the lower body, you're going to have to basically break the upper body and relearn some of the things, because the timing mechanics that you learn on the upper body are going to then shift as you get the lower body right. So while it does feel like the longer road to progress, working on the lower body is definitely where we wanted to start. That's what Mike and I have done over the past several months, is work on the lower body a lot, trying to get my lower body to look and mimic more correct form or more pro form. But that's a very long and exaggerated info to get you to the project Road to Maple Hill. So I got on the phone with Mike last night, and I have been sending Mike loads and loads of videos, and Mike also watches all of my videos to see how I'm actually throwing while I'm out there on the course and in form and things like that. I know even in a little bit of a coaching session I had with Mike this morning, he mentioned me on the putter only round that I was playing in New London, because like I said, he loves to watch those videos because it gives a realistic look at how I'm actually throwing versus, hey, let me record me throwing in form so that way you can see it and take a look at it. So what I've asked Mike is, do I think it's actually possible if I spend 2 to 3 hours a day working on my form, and if I'm in constant feedback loops with him, sending him videos of him looking at these things and him kind of helping tweak it as we go through the process, in those 2 weeks, do we think we could actually see form improvement or form change that would help me actually enjoy that trip to Maple Hill, so that I'm not so entirely like distraught about, wow, nothing's firing well and I hate myself, why do I do this? And might actually be able to see some distance results. This is not for the faint of heart, and I think that I'm actually going to be sore and overworking a lot of what I'm doing doing, but we have this trip coming up and I want to try to make the most of it, especially for being up there for the expo. Thus bringing us to the first piece that we're working on today. We've got our tripod ready to go. We got our phone ready to go, and we are gonna be doing some shadow swings. I wanna make sure that I have my shadow swing down in some of the pieces that Mike has me working on before I dive into throwing the disc. What we're gonna try to do is a ton and a ton of shadow swings of just going through this over and over again until we get a little more rigidity, until we get a little more fluidity. But that would be super boring seeing me go through all that. So I kind of want to also show you clips from Mike teaching this and also clips from me working with Mike. Let's dive in.
This is how much you have left in your stride to land, right? What do we say? 4 inches-ish, let's say, roughly. Does your arm push back more than that landing? Yeah, a lot, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You didn't walk by it, you pushed it, and then you pulled it. Left side didn't engage at all.
Yeah.
And here's the difference.
Anchored.
Your weight shift. So now we have to get into something else too, and we'll get into more detail later. This is not going to be part of your homework because I don't want you to, because the reason I do this is, remember, I treat everything as a puzzle. We're going back out to the outside puzzle pieces. 1, 2, I take care of the things upstream and the bigger pieces because the downstream might take care of itself. If it doesn't, we'll address it. If it does, we don't have to talk about it, right? Your weight shift is good, but your weight shift is more front to back. What I mean by that is you land, you come in, I know you can't see me very well, but you land and you're like a lineal weight shift, right? What the leg is doing is great, but the left side, you see the left side when I'm doing this, and I'm shifting my weight correctly. I know you can't see it, but I'm shifting it correctly. But I didn't engage the left, which leaves me only my arm because I didn't get this in position. This is the positional tension. I feel no tension in my arm now. Now I feel tension in here.
Yeah.
Because I've closed the back door into the front door, and now I felt this position, and I keep my right shoulder folded, protracted. Why? Because my arm isn't close to my body. The minute I move the elbow out and create room, create this space, I've created this shoulder moves out right there. So I have that to compress against. Now I can open up.
Okay. Yeah.
Makes sense?
Totally. So if I'm trotting too early, whereas if I try to keep it straight until boom, that allows me to stay here. I've opened up enough. This arm is solid. Compress in. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That makes sense why I'm turning around so fast, even holding to here. Yeah. Do you think part of, you said I was pulling so much. Do you think even that moment that we just talked about of like, I was coming in here and I was pulling, do you think that's why I'm really struggling to like, because even just the slightest pull to here makes it a lot harder to hit that like wall of just firing because I've almost already overturned. Tension in the shoulder, bang, 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 bang. See, I'm struggling there to not feel like my head's coming through without feeling like I'm just pow, like I'm just arm.
There's a thing called springy fascia, right? Fascia is what's below the skin and above the muscles, and it wraps every organ, every muscle, and it's kind of like a cotton candy spider web in our bodies. I had Robbie hold his hand on his thigh, and I said, take your finger and hit down as hard as you can. And he did that. And then I said, take your left hand, pull the finger up and let it go. And you could feel the power. Third stage is to pull it up. That's that springy fascia. That's that snap that we're creating. Third is as it slams down on its own, take the first part and use the muscle to assist it. That's the hardest. That's the hardest impact, right? Well, that's what we're doing in the throw. We get into here and we get this tension. This tension right here is the finger being held back. And when we let it go, that's what happens. But the arm, the muscle part of the arm is guiding it on its path. It's not just so loose and swingy that the momentum of me swinging is pulling it on its plane. No, we have a deliberate plane. We have a deliberate path where it's going, but we're not going to muscle it through. We're not going to pull it through. We're not going to isolate this, that this says create its own path and create its own power. That's not what we're doing.
So it is still a bit of like, you are still throwing it out there. This is what you're talking about with like the, not only am I like snapping the finger, but I'm also, there is a degree of I am throwing it out. It's just the extra tension that I'm feeling doing everything else right is the loading on top of the slap. Okay. Yeah, I feel like I'm just either getting pure flick or pure mash, not the combination. Okay. Boom. Turn the lever, turn the lever, turn the lever here. Yeah, see, like, because I feel like there my head is still progressing forward, which we don't want. Okay.
I don't want you engaging the left arm anymore. I want this to stay quieter, and one of the drills you're going to need to do, I can just do it sitting in a chair, is once I open up, that I feel that my left shoulder comes in just, let's say, at the wrist. If the disc is ahead of the shoulder, I have no tension. Even if I hold this out here, even if I have my protracted right shoulder fold. But if I just let the left shoulder and hip come in, now you feel the tension right there. And then you can, now the left side is done. It doesn't chase anymore. Now the right shoulder opens up to 10 o'clock.
I really need that stick. I really need that stick. I think this is going to be too heavy. Can I unscrew this? Okay. Now we're talking. Okay. Wrist position locked. Wrist position locked. Bang. Okay. So we're here. Bang. Points to 7. Curls it in. Ow! Ow! So is it safe to say that the tension shouldn't be felt here? Because when I feel like if I put tension here, that's putting tension on these muscles down here, things like that. Like if I'm focused on this being strong and firm, like too strong, like you were talking about, the place that I should feel the most tension should be right here in this shoulder, like almost maintaining and holding it. Yeah. So if I'm feeling that, like, because I mean, like, I can literally feel the, like, this is all, maintaining this angle, I can feel all of that locked and solid. It feels easy to just send it. We're here, pointed to 7. Bang. Curls in. Here. Here. Wow. We got the snap and release we were looking for. Okay. Don't know what I just yeeted off the end of this. Okay. Here. Here. Ow! Ow! Oh my goodness. Okay. That's getting me, but I mean, I can feel, I'm not out here trying to get us canceled. Ow, literally whipping myself. But I'm feeling the tension right there. Okay. Distance is pain. That's all the hit we need. Boom. And then it's boom, boom, and then finish. Okay, here we go. We're here, out, in, out. You guys are great.
Cool.
Ventures, so much to focus on. Yeah, that's the thing, and that's the beauty of like why this is here is I am planning on spending so many hours over the next 2 weeks and obviously beyond working on all of this. And I think it's important, Mike, that we continue to stress, like, walking into a 2-week window being like, here we go, I am going to change my form, requires, honestly, serious dedication from both parties involved. Calling it what it is. Because it's one thing for me to be like, I'm going to put in 2 to 3 hours a day and work on this and then misguide myself through it. Like, this is not possible without you being willing to say, hey, let's jump on. I mean, we're 2 hour. with the work you put in, Mike's 4 hours into my form today alone, because you were working on it for 2 hours before we even got on the call. So this doesn't happen without Mike. This doesn't happen without putting in the time. So I don't want to set the realistic I want to set realistic expectations. I don't want to let Birdie fan members or anyone think like, oh, if I just want it and I try really hard for 2 weeks, it's done.
Nope. What's my saying about practice? What do I live and die by?
Practice makes permanent.
Practice makes permanent, not perfect. You want to ingrain bad habits? You want to go in there and do it? Okay. Go.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Day 2. We are out here. Had a huge call with Mike this morning. Got my homework for basically today and tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to be doing some field work, and by field work, I mean we're actually going to be testing it out on the course, because part of this experience is putting in a lot of reps, but then immediately getting to the course and testing it, because we're in this like time crunched window of the next 2 weeks. So something Mike talked about a lot in today's video is that we're talking about engaging the left side. And when I was doing my form, Mike even looked at the video that we did of putter only round at New London. And he talked about that although I thought I was engaging my left side in like a major way, coming up, swinging it all in, the issue was I was coming here, and if you look, my left shoulder is still not really involved as I swing, boom, and now everything's still trailing and it's acting like a boat anchor versus actually like compressing and causing that tension, leading me to the 10 o'clock hit, things like that. So what we're focusing on for our homework in today is that we are totally focused on sort of quieting the left side. The mantra, we'll go ahead and put it on the screen here, is to be quiet intentionally. Be quiet intentionally. And I know for some of you in the comments, you're like, man, I wish that'd be like the Robbie C motto in every video, but haters gonna hate about bringing some hype to some videos. So we're gonna focus on the idea here of pinning the left elbow to my left rib cage and letting that sort of, as we come back in this backswing, hit here so that I can gather the left side and everything, and that immediately adds more tension so that I can open up to that 10 o'clock hit point and then come through. We're gonna put in about an hour's worth of shadow swings of that, and then we're gonna start throwing into a net. It's gonna be quite a day. Let's see where we get. Okay, here we go. Bang, bang. It's funny because I really feel like, Mike, I am like, this feels like nothing. So I feel like when I'm actually doing nothing, I'm getting to here, which is too much, right? Like that's too much. I really am good right here. That's it. That's it. Here, check. Because this feels like I did nothing, but I'm doing nothing intentionally, being quiet intentionally. I really don't even feel like I ever have to get my head all the way back. Let's try one with a disc. Cross, compress. Okay, we yank that to the right, which means I think we didn't actually hit 10. Cross, too big, that's too big. Boom. Yeah, let's get that feeling of compress, boom. There's way more power there, that's for sure. Compress. Out. In. That was better. Out. In. Yeah, I think we're getting somewhere. Okay, I'm thinking that like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have crunch, crunch, whip. I'm getting so focused on hitting this 10 o'clock point hard, pow, that I'm naturally bouncing, like I'm naturally forcing this, and need to understand that the tension, the coil, the spring is gonna be loaded regardless of throwing hard, and that inserting extra power, talking about that fascia, that like soft fascia, and the power being added. Right now, just having the combination of the tension and a little bit of push down is gonna be more power than I already had having just pull down, versus like, yeah, like softly doing that is still more powerful than just trying to push it down. So, and it's out here, and make sure that it's hit this 10 o'clock. and then watch the shot come through. I mean, that's already a whip, and I'm not even really doing anything. Like if I just come in on a soft walk, that was still hard. That's still hard. Quiet. Like that felt good. That felt really good. Let's see that on the film. Okay. Need to go inside, get some water. Definitely want to make sure we get that Robbie C hydration break in here. I think that our next big step is that tomorrow I'm going to play around with some folks. And so definitely want to see how this all shakes out on actual, like on a course, see if anything sticks. Do I get drawn back into the temptation of hitting the big lines and all of that? I don't really know, but hopefully we'll have that, and then we'll be able to record some of Strauss and I talking about the footage from the actual round. So stay tuned for that. If you guys want to see that for Thursday's video, let me know. If we want to dive back into regular content, also let me know. So hopefully look forward to seeing you guys then. Welcome to the 2 weeks to Maple Hill. It's I don't really know like if there's a ton of like, oh man, you're gonna learn this from this video, but I do feel like it's important to highlight kind of the learning process of a coach, learning from a coach, things like that, so that hopefully maybe you guys can apply this to your journey. Are you like overdoing crazy things with your offside? Or are you actually hitting that 10 o'clock release point, feeling the brace hit, everything like that? I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below. In the meantime, I hope you have an amazing rest of the week and that you make it fantastic for someone else too. We are gonna go, like I said, get some hydration. But for now, we're gonna leave you with the birdie.